do have a couple of predictions for 2025. The first ones that I'm going to start with are to do with aviation. So I have two predictions regarding planes. The first one I get is a commercial plane. There's a lot of people on board and there's a lot of people affected by it. It's basically some sort of surprise attack on a commercial airplane. It's like I keep getting the feeling that it's an inside job.
So this British lady predicted there was gonna be a plane crash. And one other lady, but I couldn't find her video, she also predicted there was gonna be a plane crash. And what they said in the video literally happened. Now people are tagging them, people are asking for these women to be protected. So I'm gonna roll the clip towards the end of this video. Stay with me, guys. Now, another thing is this: people are scared of flying. Some people have already started canceling their flights. They say they are scared. They don't want to, get on the plane. Guys, sincerely speaking, this is quite terrifying. So people are reacting to the recent plane crash that just happened in Washington DC, where all the passengers lost their lives. Now I'm sure we must have seen the footage, the jet and the helicopter collided. It just reminded me, recently I boarded a plane just 30 minutes after taking off. The pilot made an announcement that he was asked to return back to the airport, that they detected some kind of technical issues. At that point, some people started crying. We were thinking, like, are we even gonna land safely? Now I can imagine. I don't know. Now, even as I'm making this video, I just received a news flash. It says plane on medical assignment crashes in northeast Philadelphia. Another one. What is going on?
There was just another plane crash tonight in America, this time in Philadelphia. It wasn't a large plane like that happened the other day in Washington, D.C. However, a lot of people were hurt and killed on the ground.
So, like I said, some people are making videos already on TikTok reacting to this situation. Some are saying that it is not just a mere accident. I don't know. Now, I have put these videos together. Let's just hear what people are saying. And of course, people are sending their thoughts and prayers to the families that lost their loved ones. I mean, please check these videos out.
There was just another plane crash tonight in America, this time in Philadelphia. It wasn't a large plane like that happened the other day in Washington, D.C. However, a lot of people were hurt and killed on the ground because a Learjet struck a major area of Philadelphia. Northeast Philly, where my wife is from, and thank you to everybody who's reached out to us to check in to make sure we're okay. We've been checking in with friends and family to make sure they're okay. This plane took off from Northeast Airport. That's an airport located in Northeast Philadelphia near Roosevelt Boulevard. It was a Learjet with 6 people in it. That plane plummeted from the sky and crashed and hit the ground right by the Roosevelt Mall. That intersection is Cotman Avenue and Roosevelt Boulevard. It's a major intersection. When it hit the ground, it caused a massive fireball and sent debris everywhere. That fireball lit both homes and cars on fire. So people have died on the ground. The people in the plane, it seems that they have also perished. There's just a lot more information coming out about this constantly. So hold Philly in your thoughts tonight. Hold anybody else you know. If you know anybody in Northeast Philadelphia, call and check in on them. The area is probably going to be shut down for a few days.
That plane crash was not an accident. And I promise you it wasn't an accident. So I was a flight attendant for 5 years, right? And for those of y'all who are in aviation, I know I'm not lying. Whenever a pilot has to go to the restroom, a flight attendant has to stand in the cockpit, right? So, and there's one flight attendant that's watching a whole aircraft, right? So whenever we're in the cockpit, we're with the co-pilot, and we're always making small talk. It's always some type of small talk conversation. So they're always teaching you things or telling you random facts. Well, I remember one time specifically, I'm just in there just shooting the shit, whatever. And he's telling me how the routes are created by air traffic control to ensure that two aircrafts never collide, okay? And they're constantly communicating with them in that cockpit to ensure that two aircrafts do not collide. So they are at different y'all gotta excuse me for not having the right terminology. It's been a really long time. But if somebody might be 39,000 feet in the air, and somebody else might be 34,000 feet in the air, to ensure that they do not collide. So how did that helicopter fly into that aircraft without air traffic control, knowing that that helicopter was in the air? I'm confused.
It's with a heavy heart that I learned today that Kiah Duggins was among those killed in the plane collision in D.C. And I just wanted to take a moment and honor her. Kiah, 30, was a trailblazer hailing from Wichita, Kansas. Kiah went on to graduate from Harvard Law School, where she served as president of the Harvard Legal Aid Bureau. She represented the most vulnerable and the most marginalized. Kiah was awarded the prestigious Fulbright grant to teach in Taiwan. She also gave a TED Talk in 2018 about beauty standards and colonialism. As a young girl, she wanted to be a princess, but a friend told her that princesses didn't look like her. Kiah went on to become a top 10 finalist in the Miss Kansas beauty pageant. This fall, Kiah was slated to start a new position as professor at Howard University Law School. Kiah was a visionary who embodied excellence. May she rest in power. I find the juxtaposition of the President of the United States coming out and blaming this disaster on DEI policies astounding, especially considering the testimony, the light of Kiah that continues to shine brightly. May we never forget her witness, and may we continue to engage in her journey for a society that is more equitable for all.
Can't. Coming from somebody who used to be a flight attendant for PSA Airlines and being on those small regional jets, it just breaks my heart because that could have been any one of us. I've been choked up all morning thinking about those passengers' last moments. And at first it was me thinking, wow, what would have been like to see those lights coming towards you as you're getting ready to land? But I don't even think the helicopter had any lights on. I didn't even see any lights. And I try not to think from a mindset that is corrupt or, because I would hate to think that any of this stuff is planned. But how does something like that happen? How can you be in contact with air traffic control and still manage to run into a whole airplane that is landing? When you're at that height, you're not that far from the ground. They were probably within minutes, if not seconds of landing. They were probably texting their family members or anything, letting them know they were about to land, and then they didn't. As a previous flight attendant, we are taught all of the procedures and things they're supposed to do to make sure people are safe, the safety measures of getting people off planes and evacuating in case of an emergency, in case of a crash. But there's no way you can prepare for that. And it's just so sad because I feel like these passengers didn't even see this coming, the way that this whole thing looks set up. Seconds away from landing and this happens. Like, I can't even imagine. My heart goes out to everybody affected. This is so sad. Like, I can't.
I just don't understand how a Black Hawk makes a mistake. They don't make mistakes. They fly around airports all the time. They're around the airport. They know the drill. Even if it's a training flight, there are very, very skilled pilots that are flying right there next to them. This makes absolutely no sense to me, but what has over these past few months? This was completely avoidable. This is not supposed to happen. You get on a flight, you expect that you're safe and you're going to land safe and take off safe and be in the sky. Like, my heart is completely broken for these families. There's nothing that you can say. This should not have happened.
How in the world does a Black Hawk military helicopter crash directly into a commercial airliner? As someone who flew with a medevac team for almost a decade, I have so many questions about how this incident took place. I guess I don't understand, how are you not communicating with the towers? How are your eyes not out there seeing the lights on the plane? You're getting close to the runway. Like, so many things had to go wrong at the exact same time for an incident like this to happen. Honestly, it is too out of the ordinary to even theorize on right now, to even think that it could have been anything except a freak accident. I mean, if you've seen the video that's circulating on here or on X, it's just the plane's coming in for a perfect approach and the helicopter just rams right into it like a car rear-ending another car. Miraculously, last I've seen, there's been about 4 survivors. I don't know about anyone else, but absolutely insane that something like this could happen in DC, the most secure airspace probably in the entire world. Go to the comments, let me know what your thoughts are.
You expect me to believe that a Black Hawk helicopter collided with an American Airlines flight in DC's most modern and secure airspace. An American Eagle flight that was en route from Wichita, Kansas. Does anybody know about what's happening in Kansas right now? You know, a major Cheburka you-know-what outbreak? Putting that aside, I just so happened to track the helicopter's path as well before you were unable to all of a sudden. And boy, did I discover a lot of very interesting information, but we'll get to that here in a second. Do you know how many Russians alone were on that flight? And do keep in mind, no one is believed to actually have survived that mid-air collision. But I really shouldn't have to say much more considering they were Russian personnel. Now let's keep in mind, okay, there has been reported to be 3 US military personnel that were on board the helicopter. No names have been released as of yet, but this is the really interesting part. When you were able to track the helicopter's flight path, it just so happened to originate from a very specific address. Now, I'm not necessarily sure that I can name out an address on TikTok without receiving a violation, so I'm going to be putting it in the comment section below. But the current owners are the Embassy of Saudi Arabia. And when I noticed that, my instant reaction was, what? What is a Black Hawk helicopter doing taking off from that location? And does anybody remember the Las Vegas incident? Because if you don't, and you haven't gone down that rabbit hole already, I highly suggest that you do. Or you can watch one very specific video from an individual named Ian Carroll on X. You probably already know who he is. His name is Cancel This Clothing Company on TikTok, because he actually did a full rundown on everything that you need to know about it. And if you watch that video, then you obviously know why I'm mentioning that incident. But there are numerous Saudi Arabian diplomats and scholars residing at that address. And like I stated, I'm going to be putting it in the comment section below so you can actually go check that out for yourself.
So here's some thoughts from an air traffic controller, pilot, and somebody who lives and flies out of the DC area. I mean, I got to say this. I even hesitate to film this because people on the internet will take this in a completely different direction. I am not a commercial airline pilot, never have been. I was an air traffic controller, but for the military, never been an FAA controller, and never worked at DC Reagan. So I do not claim to be an expert in any of those areas. What I would like to do is shed a little bit of light into potential issues that would arise by any pilot or any controller in this environment. And this mainly goes to answer some of the questions that I'm getting from close friends and family. It's number one, location. I mean, the airspace around DC Reagan is unbelievably scripted and structured. There is a lot of traffic. There's a lot of low-level traffic. There's a lot of military, presidential aircraft. It is not uncommon to see helicopters extremely low near the flight path. None of that is out of the ordinary. Second potential struggles is nighttime. Now, the benefit is the weather was fantastic, very clear, minimal wind. But, you know, at nighttime, you get disoriented and you're over water. You get disoriented. You've got city lights in the background that can blind you. if for some reason the Army helicopter pilots were on NVDs or night vision devices, while that helps them see at night, it's like looking through a straw. So limited, very limited visibility, if that was actually the case. From the American airline pilot, if you look at any of the radar footage, you're going to see that they're close to landing. I believe that they were also in a slight turn. So the one thing to know is as an aircraft is coming in to land, it slows down, lift is reduced. The only way they can keep enough lift and to maintain an appropriate descent profile without going too fast is to raise the nose and change the angle of attack. The problem is when you pitch the nose up to maintain lift, you essentially create a blind spot underneath of you. So that helicopter, from watching radar data, was slightly below the nose of the airplane. And then additionally, if there was a turn to the runway, which I believe there was, landing runway 33, there's potential that the aircraft had to put its belly of the airplane in a left-hand turn, puts the belly to the right, which is exactly where the helicopter potentially was. And then having spent 14 years as a controller, I know that lots of traffic, giving traffic calls, and when the helicopter, when an aircraft reports somebody in sight, that is the air traffic controller's way of ensuring separation in these types of airspaces. It is a see and avoid type scenario. Maybe there was miscalculation on which aircraft they were looking at. Maybe it was the lights in the background. Maybe they did actually have it in sight. And then as they're running checklists and communicating and aviating and navigating, maybe they lost that aircraft for a particular second. So again, I post this cautiously. I am not an FAA controller. I am not an American Airlines pilot. I am not speculating what happened, and I'm not speculating at all who's to blame. Right now, our focus goes on, number one, recovering the bodies, taking care of the family. Number two is making sure that we learn from this and we do not find ourselves in these scenarios again. Number three, I would like to think that leadership of a country would not immediately start pointing fingers towards finding what caused this without any actual or factual data. Instead, let's rally around our people, our country, and take care of those who are hurting. Thanks.
Guys, honestly, this is quite terrifying. Like, people are scared. I read some comments and I could tell that people are scared. Now, I just want us to have a look at the British white woman's video, the woman that predicted the plane crash. Now, everything she said literally happened. I also told you that another woman also predicted the plane crash, but unfortunately, I couldn't find her original video. But I read some comments, people mentioned her. I don't know. I don't know what to think anymore. Like, this is really scary. Check her video out.
Hi everyone, I've been away for quite a while, but I do have a couple of predictions for 2025. The first ones that I'm going to start with are to do with aviation. So I have two predictions regarding planes. The first one I get is a commercial plane. There's a lot of people on board and there's a lot of people affected by it. It's basically some sort of surprise attack on a commercial airplane. It's like, I keep getting the feeling that it's an inside job, as in that it's someone who is on board and inside the plane, or someone who works for the airline is somehow involved in this, or possibly an airport worker. The second thing that I keep getting from it is that it's a man-made disaster, so it's done intentionally. It's the plane's actually targeted. It's not some sort of malfunction
What?
that happens. The second one is, I keep seeing some sort of small plane, like military or private jet,
Oh my gosh.
and it's got a very important couple on board. I feel like one of them is connected somehow to technology. Like there's some sort of business tycoon, if you like, and they like champagne lifestyle. They like the finer things in life, and they like to actually go out partying. I also get this couple have a celebrity like following, like a big following on social media, quite successful on there. So it would be household names. People would know who they are as soon as they read the headline. I'm not sure which one comes first. I keep feeling as though it's going to be the commercial liner, the passenger plane, that's first, but it could flip. I just see the two of them, so I don't know which one's first, but I do feel like, possibly the month of February will be one of them at least. I also get some form of food shortages in the first part of the year, and some big news around some sort of health matter. I don't feel as though it's connected to a person. I feel as though there's some sort of news of experiments or tests that have gone quite well in the health industry. It could be with the use of AI, but medical advancements in healthcare. Regarding the UK specifically, by the end of February, there's going to be some disappointing news on the economy, the bank and currency and things like that. It's going to be quite disappointing, and a bit of a blow to the government. In the government, I also get that there's another resignation coming in the first half of the year. It's a male, and it's connected to some sort of scandal. So this male, this politician, there's a scandal. I don't know if it's about to be revealed or it's been revealed in the past, but this scandal involves an older male and a younger male in a supporting role, and there's some form of abuse of power that's gone on there, and this male has tried to cover that up, and it gets found out. It comes out and it's all over the news, and that's the resignation that I get coming in the government. I also get that there's going to be news regarding the I'm going to call it a downgrade, but basically a downgrade in some sort of prisoners, and whether that's they'll go to a lower security prison, whether they'll be released early. There's a sort of another tranche of them, but there's some sort of downgrade in the prison service and detained individuals in the first half of the year. Interestingly enough, I keep getting a coup coming, a military coup in a foreign country, and it's a country that has a royal family, a hot country, warmer weather than we would have in the UK, possibly sort of Middle East area, not Saudi or anything like that, slightly further afield, but there's this military coup that comes as quite a surprise for people as well. In terms of the Labour government and Keir Starmer, I do see him resigning before the end of his term, possibly the latter part of 2025, but it's not going to be, anytime soon. It'll be slightly further in the future, but it's not going to be as a result of one single thing that's going to force his resignation. It'll be as though it comes from within the party itself. So I do feel in the next few months there's going to be some sort of attack on him. I don't mean physical, but I mean an attack on his policies. And it's like he feels as though he's been stabbed in the back because I feel as though that comes from within the Labour Party or civil servants, but within his own circle, there's going to be this attack on his policies and the government. I think in the end, the final nail in the coffin for him will be the Labour Party wants him out and they'll force him into the resignation. But I think there's going to be so many other things as long that. So it's going to be to do with the economy, social issues, civil unrest. There's going to be a lot of things going on. Probably more strikes to come in 2025 as well. But there's a lot of things there, and that's why he's forced into a resignation, not just because of one single thing. I also got a resignation from an MP. It's a male, and it's something to do with a younger male.
Okay, I'm gonna pause the video because I don't know, like this is quite scary. Okay, in the comments, people were asking her to predict what's gonna happen to President Donald Trump. People were just asking her a lot of questions to predict this and that, and people were questioning her sanity and all of that. Someone even mentioned that, are you sure this is not AI or something? Let me know in the comment what you have to say about her predictions, but we have seen so far that the one, concerning the plane crash literally happened. But anyways, please, I don't know what's wrong with my lights. Please bear with me. I'm really feeling some type of way. The fact that they were about to land, the fact that some of them already sent out messages to their loved ones who were waiting for them at the airport. I don't know. It just happened so fast. So does it mean the helicopter didn't see them? What happened? Like I said, people are asking a lot of questions. What happened? This could have been avoided. I just want to use this medium to send out my condolences to the families that lost their loved ones. And I want to encourage each and every one of us to please pray for them. This is a very, very hard time for them. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you all think in the comments, and please remember to keep it respectful in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, share, and of course, come back for another one. I'm gonna see you all in my next video. Have a nice day. Bye.